Hi, this is Tara Powers, CEO of Powers Resource Center, and today I'm talking about transformational change. Many of my current clients are going through transformational changes around mergers and acquisitions, which can certainly have a huge impact on their culture. It can also have a huge impact on employees who go through transformational change very differently. So today's tip is really to help companies understand some of the communication that they should be considering as people navigate the change process. So we know that change can fail very quickly if we don't do some upfront planning. And so I wanted to just today talk about reminding all of you that change is a journey. Everyone goes through it at their own pace. And during constant transformational change, we certainly look to leadership for planning, decision making, communication support, and understanding. And being mindful as a leader and helping your teams practice resiliency is really the key to getting through change successfully. So, when we think about transformational change, what I want to mention is how different it is from other changes we see in organizations, which are developmental and transitional. Transformational changes have radical impact on the way that people work, the way they work together, perhaps the way they have done business, perhaps the roles change, their leaders changing. And when we are dealing with mergers and acquisitions, we are now usually combining two cultures, which can have radical impact on a company. And so one of the aspects that managers and leaders need to be aware of is what are the natural stages that employees go through and managers as well as they go through change and experience transformational change. And this is a great slide that shows you the Kubler-Ross change cycle. It is very in alignment with the death and grieving cycle. It's not much different when we're going through something transformational at work. We are letting go of something that we knew, something we were used to, something we might have been good at, and we're being asked to try something completely different, right? We are asked to maybe to show up differently, do our jobs differently, communicate differently, act differently, learn new skills, learn new processes. And that can absolutely throw people into a stage of shock, disbelief, and they start to resist and actually get pretty upset, right? They have a lot of fears around change. They start blaming, they have anger, frustration, sometimes sadness, resentment. And very quickly, that can change into a period of self doubt where they really don't understand how they are going to succeed in the new way, whatever that change is. And as managers, we have to be aware that we might have team members that are stuck in a state of disbelief or shock. We might have team members that are stuck in a place of self-doubt and even low morale and depression. And we might have those very quick to change champions who have kind of moved through this cycle and started to adopt and integrate and explore how the change might be beneficial for them. So, knowing that, an easy way to think about it is as we move and navigate through transformational change in our organization, William Bridges wrote a book called Transitions. And he basically says that from an emotional standpoint, people go through three major periods: an endings phase, a neutral zone phase, and a new beginnings phase. And you can see that if we just overlay that on the change cycle, the Kubler-Ross change cycle, it's pretty obvious when people are going through a stage of endings, what are some of the emotions and things that they're going through when they're in that neutral zone and they don't really know what they're supposed to be doing or how to be successful at it. That's really feeling like I have a life vest on and I'm swimming, but I can't see land anywhere. And I'm not quite sure if I'm going in the right direction. And then, of course, you have new beginnings where people have explored and started to adapt to the new change. So, what is one thing we can do knowing that every single employee is going to go through this cycle in different times and in different ways? What we need to be doing as leaders and as organizations is really focusing on how we communicate based on where people are on that change cycle. And so if they're in that endings phase, one of the most important things we can do is practice empathy. And there's a lot of great ideas here for how might we communicate with our employees. What are the things that we can acknowledge or address and really show that empathy, allow them to talk about what is being lost so that they can move through that stage effectively. And if we look at the second stage where they move into what we call the neutral zone, what they really need from us is just being visible. They need to hear that this change is going to be good. They need to understand the goals. They need to hear possibly the same thing over and over and over again, clear directions, clear expectations, because they are in a state of overwhelm and confusion. And so in this stage, we really need to communicate much more than we think is reasonable. And then that final stage, when they've moved into the new beginnings, this is where, as a leader, we really want to just be recognizing and rewarding those employees for trying something new, for taking something on, for exploring, right? So we want to really be acknowledging any amount of progress when they're in that new beginning stage. So those are a couple quick tips for how to navigate the change cycle and the emotions that come with it as your employees navigate transformational change in your organization. I hope that this was helpful. Thank you.